Hello guys, Alexandrus here. Today we are back with something really interesting because we will be reviewing CEO Mr. Tudor from Hive, guys. And this project is just straight up next level, guys, so I hope that you will enjoy the interview. Also, I'm pretty sorry if I was a little rusty in some moments, but it's been a while since I did my last interview. I hope that you will like the video. I was really excited about this one, and yeah, enjoy the video, guys. Enjoy the interview. Okay guys, so we are on the Google Meet with Mr. Tudor. You can introduce yourself, tell the viewers some words about you, who you are, etc. so we can get started.
Okay, sure. So I'm Tudor. I've been in crypto since around 2013. Back then, we weren't doing exactly that much. Together with my CTO, Dominic, we basically just started buying a little bit of Bitcoin, and we were just messing around with it. And then around 2016, we basically joined the industry full time. So we started developing stuff. We started working in the industry itself. And so that's when we first started with Bounty Hive, which eventually became the largest bounty platform in the world. At its height, it had over 250,000 active users, and in total, we have worked with probably around 200 something different crypto projects. And so after we did Bounty Hive, we saw a need in the market because we had so many people that at some point we had to create participation limits so that people could, actually join the campaigns and get a high enough reward for it. And so after we implemented the participation limits, the limits would get filled out within a few hours of the campaign's launch. And so that's when we realized we needed to build something much more generalistic that would allow people to collaborate in whatever form they wanted to. And so that's how we came up with the idea of Hive. And ever since then, we've pretty much been working on this. We do have some other startups on the side, such as, for example, we have a startup that's VC backed and that's completely non-blockchain and focused on automating agriculture. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what we do. We're just developers and we like to build stuff.
Okay, that's great. So I wanted to ask you, what do you want to change in crypto with Hive, and what makes you better than other ERC20 projects in your opinion?
Okay, sure. So, first of all, it's not necessarily we want to change something in crypto with Hive. Rather, we just want to change the way that people work together. Collaboration in general is the foundation of our society. Everything that we have achieved as a species is a direct result of us working together. We are not necessarily stronger than any other animal on our planet, and yet we were the ones that succeeded in the end. And that's mostly because despite our, fragile state, if you want, we managed to find ways to work together for a common goal or common purpose. And so the purpose of Hive is to enable people from all over the world to just collaborate without any sort of limitation. And so that's also why it's so generalistic. And if you want to talk about a difference between us and other projects, I would say that the most important difference is the fact that Hive is built from the ground up with the users in mind. So the entire ecosystem is built with game theoretical incentives. Even the financial mechanisms themselves are built in such a way, and they are even in what is commonly referred to as a Nash equilibrium to one another, so as to rebalance themselves depending on the individual actions of the users. And so while some platforms have implemented game theory in some aspects and some regards of their product itself, I would say that for now, at least from what I have found on the internet, Hive is pretty much the first platform that is completely built on game theoretical principles. It's the very first organization of its type, and realistically, we don't even know what would happen in such a mini society, if you want to call it, because people can just make proposals and vote on them, and they can decide to change Hive however they want. I mean, at some point, the community could even cast a vote to demote me from being the CEO of Hive, and they can just elect a more appropriate CEO if that's what they consider the best option to be. And so I think this is a really, interesting topic, in the sense that as more time passes, I believe several other companies will start adopting this ethos, if you want to call it that. So as opposed to having, an individual like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk owning $200 billion, all of a sudden you have dozens of millions of people who are not necessarily billionaires, but who are in a far better place than they were before. And I think that's, I don't know, kind of more important than just one single individual amassing a wealth he could never spend, regardless of how long he lives.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for a great explanation of that. And I wanted to talk a little bit about exchanges, because that's also an important topic when it comes to the projects and to the coins. So I saw that you are listed on Gate.io, on BitHump and Bilaxy. I saw that on your CoinMarketCap. Do you have any other centralized exchanges in plans to list on, or you will focus on decentralized stuff?
Actually, yes. So we did do like the Uniswap listing and then the PancakeSwap listing. And to answer the second question first, we do have in plan to list on other decentralized exchanges as well. I can already mention that the next decentralized exchange we are considering is the one built on Solana, because we actually think that Solana might have a pretty bright future ahead of it. But we are still considering this option. And so it's not something we have decided 100%. And the reason for that is because before we do another decentralized exchange listing, we would like to have a centralized exchange listing. We are very happy with like Bitum Global, Gate.io and Bilaxy, but we just wanted to get an exchange with more access to users, so that people could, find out about Hive and have an easier way of getting it. And so we are in talks with an exchange, with a centralized exchange, to get listed on it. We've pretty much gone through, all of the different verifications and so on. But as you are probably aware, there's a lot of different requirements and verifications you have to go through. And so we still have not finished all of them. Realistically, as I've said, like on Telegram, I think yesterday, my personal estimation is that we should be done with all of this within a month. And so within a month, we should be able to announce the name of the exchange and actually get listed on it. But until then, unfortunately, we're not really allowed to discuss this, like any specifics.
Okay, that's understandable, no problem. So I see that there is a lot of interesting people involved into your team. I wanted to ask, where is the majority of team based at, which country, and what is the average experience when it comes to crypto and financial stuff in your team, if you could answer that.
Okay, sure. So actually, the majority of the team is based in Bucharest, Romania, which is also where I'm at right now. I'm actually at the office right now, but like it's 6 p.m. here, so like people have gone home already. But we don't necessarily have people just from Bucharest. Like we have people from Asia, we have people from the US. Brad, one of our co-founders, is from the US. He's based in Los Angeles. We also have people in Asia that help us with market entrance in that area. And then we have some other people in Europe as well. But I'd say the largest concentration of people is in Bucharest, Romania, for sure. As for the average experience, most of the people, like I think 90% of the people on our team have more than 5 to 10 years of experience. Actually, me and Dominic are the youngest people in our team, like to give you an idea, and we're both 23, Other than the two of us, the next youngest individual in the team is almost 30, and I think the average age is like 35, maybe even more than that. So they do have a lot of experience. However, not everyone has necessarily like crypto experience. For example, the people we have in our marketing department, we took them from traditional tech startups. Like we just made a new hire, and before he came to us, he was working at UiPath, which is it was the first Romanian unicorn, like the first company that went over $1 billion. They're going to have their IPO in a couple of months, I think. And so it's a pretty great company to work at. And so they have a specific culture. And so that's why we wanted to get him. So while he doesn't have crypto experience, I think that what he gathered while working at UiPath is much more valuable, especially since, teaching people the basics of crypto is not really as complicated as most people make it out to be. But if you're talking about developers, everyone worked in blockchain before. Because like that's a different topic. So that's why I'm saying depends on the department itself. So for example, we just hired a new developer like last week. And before he came to us, he was working at Year in Finance. So yeah, like they have quite a bit of experience. Yeah.
Okay, nice. That's a solid team then, and international. Yeah. I like that. Okay. I wanted to ask, what will you be focusing on in the next months when it comes to the development and improving the Hive itself?
Sure. So our main focus right now is just getting the platform live. And I do understand that, a lot of crypto projects, they go a different route than the one we've taken. So they mostly publish like a bare bones alpha and they just run with it. We thought of that too. We just couldn't do it. And the reason for that is quite simple, because if you want to build a bare bones version of Hive, we did that with Bounty Hive. Like that was what prompted us to come up with the idea of Hive, because it wasn't enough. And so we wanted to build out or flesh out as many of the features that we've described in the white paper so that Hive would be a real competitor when compared to, centralized versions like Fiverr or Upwork or Freelancer and stuff like that. And so our main focus right now is just getting the platform up and going. As mentioned, we're going to be skipping the testnet because in the first iteration of Hive, we will have some parts that are centralized. On the bright side, this gives us the opportunity to test those components in the normal way you would test an application. So that's why we don't need a testnet, and that's why we're going directly for the mainnet. And so after we launch the first iteration, which is going to lack the Hive protocol and the HR agents, that's it. Other than that, it's going to have all of the features we've described in the white paper. And so after we launch the first iteration, with each new iteration, we're just going to start decentralizing the modules that are centralized, basically, so that after a year and a half, maybe 2 years at most, Hive would eventually become completely decentralized and out of our hands. So I'd say that that's pretty much our main focus. Yeah.
All right. I have one more question from myself, and then we will move on into the community questions. It is a simple question, but I think it's pretty important. So do you have any specific marketing plan, marketing strategy in mind, or you will be just doing this like, freestyle?
Sure. We actually do. So that's why we've been expanding the marketing team and why we took the UiPath guy. Because we wanted to hire creative people. I wasn't necessarily interested in just getting someone that would, make some ads and that's pretty much it, and you just get some data out of it and that's it. I wanted people that are truly creative and that want to, think outside the box and create marketing strategies that make sense. An example of this, it's a pretty small one, but it's still creative thinking. So for example, Anka, our marketing head, she came up with the idea of making a profile picture for Hive ambassadors. And if you're a guy or a girl, you have 2 different pictures which you can just wear and proudly show that you're a Hive ambassador, basically. And so I really liked that, and the community received it quite well. Other than that, we did, for example, like a series of videos, and we're actually continuing that. So we finished the first series, and now, well, we're scheduling like a next series, which goes into much more detail regarding how different mechanics of Hive work. So we're going to be doing a lot of, different competitions, different events, and different sorts of, I don't know how to call them, like events that would involve the community itself. It's not just paying some ads on a website and that's it. We want to involve the community for as much as possible. And even if you go on Telegram, you'll notice this, that we actually listen to what the community has to say. Like we've taken quite a few different advices from the community, and they've been quite helpful, to be perfectly honest. And so we want to continue that. And it's also why we want to start involving the community. As for the exact specifics of what we're going to announce and launch, I think that would kind of ruin the surprise. So I'll just let you guys find out about it.
All right. I saw that ambassador thing on Twitter, and it's actually pretty cool. So that's a nice and creative way, I gotta admit. So if you are okay, we can now move on into the community questions.
Okay, sure.
So we spoke a little bit about the mainnet itself, and I have a question, which is, when is the mainnet setup occurring? I saw in roadmap it's fourth quarter, I believe, but you have any changes when it comes to that, or?
Correct. We have changes. We need to update the roadmap on the website as well. We're taking care of updating the website this week. But to answer the specific question, the mainnet is coming out sooner than that. The mainnet should be coming out at the beginning of Q3.
Okay, cool. Another question, how can we be sure that Hive is safe place to invest in? So basically like question about safety.
What type of safety? There's a lot of different things this question could represent. Like, is it safety to use Hive as a user? Is it safety to use Hive as a host? Is it safety to, like, what specifically do you mean?
Like, I mean, we can talk about both of those, I guess. I don't have any specific here. He just asked about the safety of the platform itself and the application when it will be developed.
Okay, sure. So first of all, Hive escrows all the money. And so you're never at risk of not getting paid. And on the other side of things, if you're a host, you are never at risk of losing your money because we implemented Claros. And so if someone doesn't actually fulfill their job, you can just open a dispute on Claros and you provide evidence, and some decentralized jurors will come in and, deliberate and decide who is right. And so the entire purpose of Hive is to eliminate the need to trust someone. You don't need to trust an individual. You simply need to trust the system. And that's not necessarily so hard to do because the system itself is public. Like you can just check it. That's the idea of it. I do want to mention something, for example. So we're going to be integrating applications directly inside of Hive. Okay. And let me just give an example of this. So let's say you're a freelancer and you have a couple of jobs that you've taken. And let's just say you've taken one job, and this is a monthly paid job that's going to take place for the next year. And so let's say you get $1,000 a month for the job you're doing. But in the third month, you need to make an expenditure that's worth much more than $1,000. Maybe it's $3,000. So it's your salary for 3 months. And so you don't have that capital. But we can just implement a lending application like Hive directly into Hive, and you can just vouch for the fact that you can pay this amount of money simply through the fact that Hive holds your money in escrow for the next 9 months. So if, for example, you decide to default on the loan itself, the platform will just pay the loan back for you from the escrow. And so essentially it gives both borrowers and the loaner itself a sense of confidence and trust. And so there's a lot of, different other ways you could use this, because as long as you have a profile where you have specific jobs that you've done, you have a reputation, you have an amount of money that you know for certain you will earn over the next 3, 6, 12 months, you can actually prove that you have the capability to pay certain things. And this goes for Hives as well, because as you know, people can just decide to create a Hive together. So a Hive is basically a decentralized startup. It's a self-governed organization. And so the two of us, for example, could create a Hive and say, I'm a developer and you're a designer. So we just split this 50-50 between us. And at some point, we want to enlarge the team. And we don't have the capital for that. So we could just, for example, as if you would run an IDO, we can just sell a share of our Hive, like 5% of our Hive, to some investors that come and check our financials, and they see that, for example, we have an improvement month over month of over 10% in revenue. They can see that we already have contracts signed in value of X amount of dollars. And then they have confidence to just, for example, invest a specific amount of money in our Hive, so we can just, hire more people and continue to offer more services. Maybe we want to, expand into video creation. And so we hire someone who can help us with that. And so there's a lot of different ways that Hive can be plugged into other applications, or in which other applications can be plugged into Hive to make this a more vibrant ecosystem in general.
Okay. So another question regarding the application itself. So will the ready product be accessible to everyone globally, or there will be some restrictions applied when it comes to like certain communities or countries?
This is a tough question, actually. From a technical perspective, it can be accessed from anywhere in the world. From a legal perspective, we might have some limitations in regards to some countries. For now, I doubt that will be the case. But at the same time, I cannot really guarantee it, because it's not something that depends on me. So for example, if it's like a high-risk country, like Syria, for example, it might be possible that we won't be able to operate there for a while. Or maybe if it's a country like India, where the regulatory, landscape is a bit complicated right now with, banning cryptocurrencies and everything else, it might be possible that for a while we won't be able to operate there. But all of these issues, they are temporary issues, and they are issues that affect all of the different companies that exist in this industry. And so I'm certain that over time, let's say 1, 2, 3 years, this will be a thing of the past. I mean, 3 years ago, if you would have told someone that Elon Musk or Tesla or, anyone would buy Bitcoin and hold it on their balance sheets, they would have called you insane. And at the same time, or Visa accepting Bitcoin, or PayPal. And PayPal was so against cryptocurrency in general. And all of a sudden, the CEO of PayPal is the friend of crypto. Because as more time passes and people realize the actual value that crypto provides, and we start to realize that the only way to move forward, the only way to evolve our systems and become, the society we were supposed to be in 2021, is to embrace this and accept it fully. And so I'm quite confident that this will not continue to be a problem for much longer.
Okay, that's absolutely right. So another question, last for today, is why did you decide to deploy particularly on Ethereum blockchain instead of other blockchain? For example, Polkadot.
Sure. So first of all, I want to make this clear. As we build out Hive and we start doing consecutive iterations, over time, the idea is for Hive to be accessible and available on every blockchain. Okay. This is also why we, for example, did the listing on PancakeSwap and why we created the BEP20 token. This is also why we're considering doing the same for Solana. And so over time, we're going to start doing this more and more and more up until the point where we've succeeded in integrating all of the major blockchains at the very least. As for why we chose to start with Ethereum, well, there are several reasons for that. I mean, I know there's the high gas fee problems, but first of all, the infrastructure that exists on Ethereum is completely non-existent on any other blockchain. And I can guarantee that from the perspective of a developer. So it's not just, I don't know, shilling Ethereum or something. It's just over time, because Ethereum was the only player for so long, people have built so much infrastructure on Ethereum that it's genuinely helpful for anyone trying to build a complex ecosystem. The second reason is because the gas fee problem will probably not exist forever. Like, it's just a temporary issue, just as, for example, with the legal situation in some countries regarding crypto. And the third reason for that is because Solidity was a good programming language that allowed us to do what we wanted to do at the time. I mean, when we started to, conceive Hive and flesh it out and decide the architecture and start building it, Ethereum was the only option. It wasn't possible to build Hive on anything else. Right now, obviously, because other blockchains have advanced as well and they've evolved, you can start building applications like Hive on other blockchains as well. But this was not the case back then. And so we just decided to take it one step at a time. And so we're going to finish this on Ethereum and then start focusing on what is the next blockchain we should integrate Hive into, and just start doing that one by one.
Okay, that's understandable. So you will be expanding over time. Okay, that's cool.
Of course.
So thank you so much for all the detailed answers, and thank you for being my guest today. Pleasure on my side to interview you. And I wish you a nice evening. If you want, you can also invite people to your socials.
Okay, sure. So it was nice being here. Thank you as well. If you want to join us, you can just find us on Twitter at Join Hive, or you can just find us on our Telegram group at Hive Works. I'm mostly on the Telegram at least once every couple of days. You can also just feel free to send me a text. It's probably going to take a few days for me to answer because I really get a lot of them. But other than that, I'm happy to talk with anyone.
Alright, all the links, guys, you will find in the description. Again, thank you so much, and that's it from me today. See you guys in the next videos.
Thanks.
Alright.
Bye-bye.